Alright, we're on the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. We have just stepped into the third act, and now we're going to watch the first part of the final battle of the film. Lots of explosions and robot action ahead, so without further ado, let's get into it. My name is Paul, and this is Plot Spot. Welcome to Plot Spot, the place where we analyze stories and try to determine what makes them succeed or fail. Last time, we saw what Sector 7 had hiding in the basement, and now the Decepticons know too, and are en route. Oh, and Megatron is free. So, yeah, everyone's kind of screwed. Let's see how the Autobots and humans deal with it. So as the convoy of military in Sector 7 rolls toward Mission City, they run into Optimus and the other Autobots, and we are greeted with this strange visual effect as Prime blares his horn. I have no idea what this is supposed to convey. We also get a similar one with Bumblebee a couple of seconds earlier. Is this just some kind of lens flare type thing, or is this trying to show them communicating with each other? Either way, it's strange. Another thing that's strange? Why hasn't Starscream caught them yet? The convoy does not appear to be breaking any land speed records. They're going 60 miles an hour, tops. Do you know what the top speed of an F-22 is? 1,500 miles an hour, or just over 2,400 kilometers an hour. That means Starscream can travel from the Hoover Dam to Mission City in 53 seconds. So, he should have caught them without any effort. Let's say he's only going half that speed. There still is no reason he doesn't catch them before they make it to the city. But nah, I guess Starscream's just chilling. As the Autobots join the convoy, Frenzy starts trying to break into the radio room back at the Hoover Dam for some reason. Did he find out what they are up to and is trying to stop them? I guess so, but would have been nice to have a small scene of Frenzy overhearing the plan. And I guess Maggie knows how to shoot? Not a plot hole. It's certainly possible she could know how to, but it's a little surprising. Meanwhile, Glenn sends a message to the Air Force as Simmons burns Frenzy with a flamethrower. As the Autobots and humans near Mission City, Barricade and Bonecrusher catch up to them, with the latter flipping cars out of the way. Still no sign of Starscream. The Autobots attempt to block the two Decepticons, I guess. They don't do a very good job, and they're nowhere in sight in front of the evil Transformers. But Bonecrusher transforms to robot mode, and Optimus does the same to meet him in battle, in plain view of all the people on the highway. This isn't inherently wrong. Prime needs to do what he has to in order to stop Bonecrusher, but we'll just put a pin in that for now and revisit it later. Bonecrusher tackles Prime off this bridge, even though they seem to be nowhere near one, and Prime punches him in the throat so hard one of his eyes pops out. They fight briefly under the overpass, and Optimus cuts his head off with his sword. I think this is a good time to briefly discuss what has become a meme in the live-action movies, Optimus's bloodlust. Now, I don't deny there are some strange moments in these films where Prime seems like a homicidal maniac, but I think some people even have a problem with this scene. Like, Optimus can never kill enemies because he didn't in the original cartoon. Well, I have no problem with an Optimus that kills his enemies in battle. As I said, there are some weird moments in other films, but we'll talk about those in time. As far as Bonecrusher, it makes perfect sense to dispatch him. The Prime we usually have gotten so far has been one that doesn't make sense. A soldier that doesn't kill his enemies, but instead just shoots guns that only mildly inconvenience them? That's odd. That at least is something these movies get right. It feels like the Transformers are trying to kill each other, for the most part. The next thing I wanted to bring up is the lack of Transformer dialogue in this film, especially from the Decepticons. Not counting Frenzy, the only intelligible lines of Decepticon dialogue come from Megatron, Starscream, and Barricade. Bonecrusher just makes noises. Even Optimus doesn't say anything during this fight. Where's the smack talk? I know I just talked about realism, and sure, insulting your enemy in the middle of a fight isn't the most realistic, but unlike not killing your enemies, smack talk isn't harmful to the mechanics of the movie and world. Plus, it's a tried and true tradition of Transformers.
You can't stop me!
You're old, Megatron. Yesterday's model, ready for the scrap heap.
We'll see who's ready for the scrap heap!
Junk! That's what you are! Junk!
Silence!
Last thing of note from this scene. Where the hell did Barricade go? He just disappears. Like I said, B should have just killed him earlier, because he doesn't add anything to the plot. Speaking of not adding anything to the plot, let's wrap up the scene back at the Hoover Dam. Frenzy manages to break into the radio room, and Simmons and Keller open fire on him. Then one of his discs that we didn't see him fire somehow flies by and cuts through his head. Real lame, my guys. But I also don't expect that much from this movie at this point. Anyways, this is the last we see of these characters in this movie, except for a brief snippet of Keller at the end. And I can't really say that's so terrible. Oh, and the Air Force is sending jets to Mission City. So yay. Let's get over there. First, I want to say that the city seems rather calm, even though they are in the middle of a global communications blackout and several armed men are milling around the street. Well, I guess this was before smartphones had really caught on, so maybe people weren't as addicted to their devices yet. Anyways, Lennox gets a few old radios from a pawn shop and gives them to Epps to contact the Air Force. And right on cue, the first F-22 Raptor has arrived. Epps tries to radio it, but it doesn't respond as it flies back and forth overhead. Something is wrong. Fortunately, Ironhide catches onto it.
It's Starscream!
Yep, Screamer finally arrived. Makes sense he'd be the first one here, but he should have caught them long before they ever made it to the city. Oh well. Not exactly sure how Ironhide knows it's Starscream. Again, I'm going to assume they can't detect each other, so it has to be something like Ironhide recognizes Starscream's flight pattern or something. Anyways, Ironhide and Bumblebee transform to robot mode and lift a Furby truck to use as a shield. I love this scene because you see Autobots acting as characters and responding to a threat in a reasonable manner. I also hate this scene because you see Autobots not acting as characters and not responding to a threat in a reasonable manner, namely Ratchet and Jazz. The two chucklewads just sit around in vehicle mode not doing anything. Did Ironhide and B need them to help brace the truck? No, but they at least could be standing by, ready to help out. Maybe they could have taken some shots at Starscream as he flies in. But no. They decide to just sit in vehicle mode, and it's not over, it gets worse. Starscream fires a couple of missiles, sending Ironhide and Bumblebee flying and blowing off the ladder's legs. A lot of the humans get knocked off their feet as well. And for some reason, Starscream decides not to come back and finish them off and take the Allspark at the same time. Equally egregious, as Bumblebee crawls around legless, Jazz just sits here in vehicle mode, watching. The only indication that he is more than a vehicle is that he backs up when Sam tells him to.
Back.
What the hell, Jazz? Your friend is lying on the ground in pieces, and you're just sitting on your hands. Or wheels. This scene frustrates me so much because it is a clear example of the Transformers not seeming like characters while in vehicle mode. Part of that is that they don't talk in vehicle mode. Ironically, B seems the most like a character because they do have him talk in vehicle mode and do some other questionable actions in vehicle mode. Sam then calls for Ratchet, who never responds to him. Asshole. They could have fixed this scene so much by having Jazz help drag B to safety and Ratchet briefly attending to him before saying there's nothing he could do and that he has to help fight the Decepticons as Starscream is still prowling around the city. Ironhide and Jazz could also be on guard duty at the same time, shooting at Starscream as he tries again for another strafing run. So much could be fixed with those few changes. Lennox yells at Epps for some reason about Starscream shooting at them. I don't know if this is supposed to be him messing around to try to help everyone keep their cool, but it doesn't come across like that. It seems genuine. Epps then says this line.
F-22 pilots would never fly below buildings. That's alien. That ain't friendly.
We'll remember that. Epps then gets a transmission on his radio that Army Blackhawks are inbound, and Epps vectors them. However, things are about to get worse as the sound of a cannon breaks the silence. Rawl has arrived, and these people decide it's a good idea to run in front of the tank for some reason. But don't worry, Jazz has woken up now and is on it. He and Ratchet, no idea where Ironhide is, as well as military vehicles, drive toward Brawl. Sam then runs off, only to sit over here for some reason. And Michaela decides to do something useful, unlike Sam. Bumblebee hands off the Allspark to Sam, silently telling him to carry on the mission. So why didn't the cube heal Bumblebee's legs? How the hell does this thing work? It's fickle as all get out. Oh, here's Ironhide. He's going after Brawl as well and transforms to robot mode. Then we get this weird scene of this woman screaming. Like, why? I feel like this is a fetish scene or something. Oh god, that's what it is, isn't it? This was someone's fetish scene. Ah! Burn it with fire! Jazz comes at Brawl from the left and redirects his cannon. And we actually get some banter that I'm looking for.
Come on, Decepticon, punk!
Yes, more of that, please. Brawl transforms to robot mode and throws Jazz off, apparently over a building and into another street? This street doesn't seem to match where they just were. Anyways, we're moving on. The robots are fighting each other. Ironhide shoots his cannons at Brawl as Jazz slides back into the fight, and Ratchet cuts off Brawl's arm. Starscream, meanwhile, is nowhere to be found. He just lets the poor guy with the identity crisis get ganged up on by 3 Autobots. The humans join in on the assault, and Brawl does quite the flip. Like, wow, how is that even possible? He missed his calling for the Cybertronian Olympics, that's for sure. I will give the Autobots a little grace for not finishing Brawl off here, because right after Brawl shows off his amazing gymnastics abilities, Megatron arrives. And just in case you didn't know it was him, he announces himself. I liked him announcing himself as Megatron when he first broke out of cryo. It was him reclaiming his name, but this is just getting silly at this point. Ratchet signals the retreat, implying that 3 Autobots can't handle Megatron, which I'm not sure about. Sure, he's powerful, but 3 Autobots ganging up on him? I think they could take him. We see a little bit later that Megatron visibly recoils from Jazz's blasts. But I'll give Ratchet the benefit of the doubt. I won't give Jazz that same charity, however, as he proceeds to not retreat and not even shoot at Megatron. He just kind of stands there and then points his shield/gun at Megatron like an idiot before Megatron blasts him off his feet. The Decepticon leader then absconds with Jazz to the rooftop where he proceeds to rip Jazz in half, killing the poor Autobot. The poor, stupid Autobot. Michaela, meanwhile, is on top of things, breaking into a tow truck and hot-wiring it before bringing it back to Sam and Bumblebee to get the latter to safety. This is really where Michaela's character shines through in this movie. I was tough on her earlier in the film, but she comes through at this point while Sam just sits there and does nothing. Meanwhile, Brawl gets back to his feet and Blackout arrives, both ready for their respective rematches. Lennox realizes things are rather dire and goes to find Sam while he and Michaela plan to get Bumblebee out of there. He just kind of left the Allspark sitting on the tow truck, and for some reason it doesn't bring it to life. Come on, man, what the hell? Give me long arm, damn it! Lennox comes up with a plan. He has to stay and lead his men, but someone needs to get the cube to a building he will designate as an evac spot. Sam has to be that person. This actually makes a lot of sense considering Lennox's current resources. He has a handful of soldiers and Sector 7 agents and 2 Autobots against 4 Decepticons. And these ain't the small fry like Barricade and Scorponok, who are both strangely absent, I will once again mention. They're the big guns, and they just killed one of the Autobots, plus there's no sign of Optimus yet. So while giving the cube to, say, Epps or Ironhide might make more sense at first, consider this. Whoever carries the Allspark, especially a human, will be unable to effectively fight. He will be a glorified runner. So, essentially Sam. And it's not like Sam can pick up a gun and start shooting. God, that's probably the last thing we want to happen. Keep Sam far away from any firearms. They need every gun that they have in this fight against the Decepticons.
A lot of people are gonna die.
So while not ideal, it's better to quote-unquote waste the job of carrier on Sam, since he can't fight anyway. That frees up all the humans and Ironhide and Ratchet to focus their attention on fighting the cons. So, good job, Lennox. Here is the problem with Lennox's plan, though. How could he ever think that getting the cube out on a relatively slow helicopter would work when Megatron and Starscream exist? The Black Hawk's maximum speed is 183 miles per hour, with a never exceed speed of 222 miles per hour. So let's be the most charitable to them and say that the Black Hawk pilots know this is do or die, so they're going 220 miles per hour. Refresher, an F-22 could go 1,500 miles an hour. That's almost 7 times faster, and I think it's quite probable Starscream can travel even faster than that, considering he can escape Earth's atmosphere. And Megatron has to be in the same ballpark, so once again, they catch up to the helicopters without even trying. Hell, my rudimentary research comes up with even a Pavlo having a faster top speed. I don't know if Lanx's plan is to try to keep the Decepticons pinned here, but I can't figure out how they would do that. Any of the flyers can easily take off and just leave, and no one can say boo about it. So, less of a good job, Lennox. In my headcanon, Sam is well acquainted with the speeds of military vehicles and knows this is a doomed mission, so he, understandably, bucks this plan at first. But Lennox gets through to him in his own special way.
Listen to me, you're a soldier now.
Reluctantly, Sam acquiesces. Lennox tries to get Michaela to leave, but she refuses to go until she gets Bumblebee to safety. Good job, Michaela. As the Blackhawks approach, Ironhide says that he and Ratchet will protect Sam. But before he goes, Michaela stops him to say that she's glad she got in the car with him. Ah, that's a heartwarming scene. Michaela's really come a long way as a character in this movie. I'm excited to see where their relationship goes. Who's that? Oh well, we'll get to that eventually. Ironhide tells Sam to get to the building, and Megatron signals that it's truly about to begin with the old Decepticon war cry.
Decepticons attack!
Kickoff. Brawl opens fire, and Ironhide and Ratchet return it as Sam runs the other way in a nice callback to his failed football tryout. But he runs into Blackout, who knocks down Ironhide and then just flies off. What? He has Sam right where he wants him. With Ironhide down and Ratchet presumably preoccupied with Brawl, it would be a simple matter for Blackout to kill Sam and take the Allspark, but instead he leaves. Almost like we need the plot to keep going. Now, some might say, why doesn't Ironhide or Ratchet transform to vehicle mode and drive Sam to the building? It would be faster than Sam running all the way there, but look at it this way. With 4 Decepticons prowling around, the Autobots are outgunned and can't sacrifice losing one of them for courier duty. They need all the firepower they got, trained on the cons. So I think Ironhide and Ratchet are making the best choice they can under the circumstances. Unless, of course, they can use weapons in vehicle mode, but surely that's not a possibility. Michaela gets Bumblebee all strapped to his tow truck car seat, and they drive off as Brawl inches closer. And meanwhile, oh ho ho, the man of the hour arrives. Driving down alley, for some reason, Optimus Prime makes his grand entrance into Mission City. Did you notice Optimus and Megatron both make their entrances into the battle in alleyways? Is that on purpose or an odd coincidence? You be the judge. Anyways, Optimus drives out of the alley. It's a coincidence. That's the answer. Anyways, Optimus drives out of the alley and transforms to robot mode, and the two commanders meet each other again for the first time in millennia.
Megatron Prime!
After Megatron disrespectfully tosses Jazz's body parts aside, he transforms to alt mode, and Optimus hitches a ride, which doesn't seem to do much of anything. After careening through the city and a skyscraper, they end up at an intersection and have this exchange.
Humans don't deserve to live. They deserve to choose for themselves.
Come again for Big Pudge?
What now? So, Megatron says humans don't deserve to live. A little on the nose evil in the dialogue department, but whatever, we'll roll with it. It certainly isn't out of character for him to think that. But then Optimus says that humans deserve to choose for themselves. Now, the writers obviously intended this to be an inspiring humanity's destiny is in their own hands line, but actually think about it. He's saying humanity deserves to choose if they live or die. I mean, obviously we choose to live, right? I mean, who chooses otherwise? Unless Optimus is a fan of euthanasia. He'd love Canada. He should have landed there instead of the States. I'll also say that this is a missed opportunity to not have their exchange be something deeper that could give us more insight into what their past relationship was. Like that brother line that will be coming up soon. But that could be the tagline of this movie. Transformers. Missed opportunities. Megatron throws Optimus, and then you can see in this cut, Optimus is further down the street now, and the cars he smashed into are inexplicably gone. Including this taxi these people are inexplicably hiding behind in the next shot. See how they're not there in the wide shot? Good job, Michael. Megatron takes aim with his fusion cannon, and Optimus aims his ion blaster. Optimus gets off the first shot and makes Megatron do a spin. Okay. Megatron returns fire and blasts Prime down an entire city block. Holy crap! Those guns aren't even comparable. You might as well bring a BB gun to a tank fight. Optimus then falls to the sidewalk below and miraculously manages to not squish anyone, including this guy who I guess lucked out being under Optimus's raised leg. Good God, was that fortunate. And I guess Megatron decides to not finish off his sworn enemy for some reason, and instead go find the Allspark. Okay. Sam, meanwhile, is running down the street, having been rejoined by Ironhide and Ratchet. Blackout comes back, but once again, he doesn't do shit. He starts cutting up this car for no reason. Sam runs out of the street and onto the sidewalk, closer to the car, mind you, and just misses half of it being thrown through the window. Blackout vanishes, I guess, because now Starscream is back from wherever the hell he went and cuts Sam off. Starscream exchanges fire with Ratchet and Ironhide, seemingly getting the better of them, especially Ironhide. And then, with the Autobots wounded and the Allspark in his grasp, Starscream just leaves. Seems to be a running thing in this movie. Well, I guess it is the unofficial secondary motto of the Decepticons.
Decepticons, retreat! Retreat!
I think it's time for us to retreat as well. For now. Next time we will finish going through the story. Then we'll go into the wrap-up and the part after that. Stay tuned, folks. Until then, go out and find more stories. Then I'll meet you back here where we'll examine another one. I've been Paul, and this has been Plot Spot.